Hi, welcome to yoga. Today we're going to start out in a seated position, just inhaling the shoulders up and relaxing them back and down. Taking a few nice deep breaths. Let's roll the wrists, roll the shoulders a couple more times. And just breathe, finding our foundation beneath us on our two sits bones. Lengthening up through the spine. If it feels good to take the left hand over the heart, the right hand over the belly, you can take a few deep breaths here, feeling that air move into the lower part of the lungs, and then filling up the upper part. Exhaling, letting it out of the upper part of the lungs and then the lower part. And just finding our stillness here, letting go of any worries, any competition that we might be feeling, judgment, expectations. Those things don't serve us. So we'll just breathe, letting it go. If we're feeling a little bit shaky today or our mind is wandering, we can turn the palms downward onto the tops of our knees to practice groundedness. If we need to practice acceptance today, or maybe letting go, we can turn those hands upward so that the palms face the sky. We'll place the hands at our heart together, all 10 fingers pressing into one another, and inhale, pressing the hands straight up toward the sky. We'll exhale down, pulling the hands back to the heart. So we'll anchor the fingers on the right hand over to the side, inhale the left arm up. And exhale down, we'll inhale the right arm up. And exhale down, just practicing a gentle breath with movement. Opening and closing the side body. It's important to remember to relax both shoulders here. We can gaze up at those fingertips toward the sky, or if it feels better on our neck, we can just look straight ahead. We're just going at our own pace, so whatever feels best for you today, always honoring our bodies. So we'll come back to center, taking the fingertips onto the tops of the shoulders. We're just going to make a few elbow circles in the air. Just relaxing the shoulders. We'll move in the opposite direction. A lot of times we hold tension in our shoulders, so this is a good time to let that go. And placing our hands about shoulder width apart out in front of us. Spreading all 10 fingers wide, we'll come into our neutral spine. So hands and feet are all shoulder width apart. We can do fists for wrists if we have any kind of wrist pain. If we have knee pain, we can always double the mat over. And we'll start our cat-cow flow. So always beginning with the tailbone, tucking it under, spine reaches toward the ceiling, and then we draw the chin into the chest. And then for our cow, tailbone curls out, belly sinks down toward the earth, and that chin comes up toward the sky, bringing our eyes with it. So we're just gently articulating the spine, breathing as we move. We're going to send the hips in a few circles here, so just letting them go over toward the left side of our mat, over to the right side. This is just whatever feels good today. So we're just going to send the hips over to the right side of the mat and peek over that left shoulder, back toward our ankle, stretch out the side of the hip. And we'll come back to center, and then over to the opposite side, left hip over, looking past the right shoulder, coming back to center again. And it was really cold this day, so I had to wear some socks and a hat. And it gets warmer as I warm up, which is good. So let's extend the right leg back behind, sending our weight into that right heel, really making sure that our toes are spread wide so that we can stretch the foot too. So we'll start alternating a long leg with a bent knee, back and forth, and we should feel that really nice stretch through all those 5 toes, alternating with a good stretch from the hip all the way to the heel. We'll move to the opposite leg. We're preparing to go into our downward dog here in a minute. Back and forth, warming up the calf. We'll come back to our neutral spine, do one more cat-cow just to kind of articulate the spine a little bit more, stretching it out. Then we're going to send the hips back toward the heels for an extended child's pose, resting the forehead there on the mat. Arms are nice and long. If it feels better to spread the knees apart, we can keep the big toes together and make kind of a V shape. If resting the forehead there on our mat is uncomfortable, we can always stack the fists beneath the forehead or put a block there. And if bending the knees completely is uncomfortable, we can find a puppy pose instead. So finding about a 90-degree angle with the thigh and the calf, and then stretching the heart out across the mat. That'll alleviate any strain that we might have on our knees. Let's just take a few breaths here in our extended child's or maybe puppy pose. Just letting go, grounding ourselves. This is a great place to come to if we ever need a break today. And preparing for down dog, we'll tuck those toes under and lift the hips straight up toward the sky, just kind of cycling the heels out a little bit. So keeping in mind hands and feet are all hip width or shoulder width apart. Head is right between those elbows there. The position that we did earlier with hands shoulder width and feet hip width apart, neutral spine, that's our alternative option for down dog. Bending those knees really deeply into the heart so that we can lengthen through the spine and we can start to draw the heels in the direction of the earth. If they don't touch the ground or the floor, that's okay. It's most important here to lengthen through the spine. So even if our knees are bent all the way into our bellies, that's okay. From our down dog, we'll start our plank flow. So we're going to inhale forward, stacking the shoulders directly above the wrist, engaging the core as we lower down. We want to keep the hips fairly level with our shoulders. We don't want to sink really low or have those hips up really high. We want to have them level, and we'll know that our hips are level when our core is really engaged. Inhale, hips up toward the sky. Exhale, plank. Back and forth. Remembering to have that weight directly above the shoulders when we come down and we're pressing into the earth so our neck doesn't sink down into the shoulder space. If your body metrics are a little bit different, it's super normal. Sometimes we have to walk our feet up just a little bit or maybe back just a little bit for our plank down dog flow. And an alternative to that is our kneeling plank and extended child's flow. So if down dog plank isn't feeling so nice or we need a little break, we can try out the kneeling version. Stepping forward into a forward fold, start to relax the head and the neck, so shaking our head no. We'll nod the head yes. And grabbing either elbow here, we'll just start to find kind of a ragdoll position. So we're only moving the shoulders here, just relaxing the shoulder space. We don't want to move the torso with it. Let's bend those knees even deeper into the chest again. Lengthening through the spine is the main goal right now since we're still warming up. We're going to walk the fingertips to the outer edge of the left foot, extending a little bit further with the right hand. We'll come back to center and then walk those fingertips over to the opposite side, this time extending with the left hand. Then we'll gently come back to center. On the next inhale, reverse swan diving up. Nice deep breath. And I got really hot, so I switched my jacket. And we come back down. Inhale, nice deep breath up. And exhale down. It's really important here with our forward folds to remember to hinge at the hips. When we inhale with those arms out wide, we're drawing the shoulder blades together so that it prevents us from rounding in the spine. Alternatively, if we have kind of sore shoulders, we can keep the hands together at the heart and just kind of hinge back and forth. That way it might engage your core a little bit more. If we want to advance a little bit here and add a back bend to our forward fold flow, we can inhale back, sending the hands back behind our head, pressing the hips forward, and then exhale back down. So we'll do our last forward fold here. Inhaling, nice deep breath, and then we'll start into our chair flow. We're gonna send the hips back and making sure that our spine is long. Sometimes our pelvis likes to curl out or maybe it curls under. So just taking our hand to our lower back, making sure the spine is long, and then we'll inhale up, nice deep breath. And I like to add a back bend to my chair flow. Just feels nice. It isn't required. It's a little bit hard to see, but my feet are hip width apart. There's a little bit more stability there, but if you're used to practicing with your feet together, that's totally okay. Do what you're used to. If we have sore shoulders today, we can just keep those hands at the heart. We should be able to look down and see our toes past our knees. If we need more of a modification today, we can just rest the hands there on the thighs as we exhale down. Engaging the glutes, engaging the thighs. We'll come to the side of our mat and spread our feet wide so the toes are pointed diagonally away from our body. We'll come down into a wide squat, letting the knees follow the direction of the toes. And then coordinating that movement with our arms, we're going to draw the elbows into the ribs and exhale, crunching down, inhale, expanding out. Those are our moonflowers. And then same thing with the legs for our sunflowers. We're just going to paint some circles there in the air with our fingertips, relaxing the elbows and the wrists. And then we'll exhale, hands down to the heart. Stepping forward again. Inhale, nice deep breath up. Exhale, find our chair. So we're starting our sun salutations. Exhale down, forward fold. Stepping back with our right foot, we will find a lunge. Front knee is stacked above the ankle, core is engaged. We can inhale, hands to heart. Then we'll extend through the right leg. Exhale, hands down, step back, find our down dog. And our alternative to this is find our extended child's. Inhale, kneeling plank, core is engaged. Exhale, kneeling crocodile, elbows brush past the ribs. Our elbows are literally brushing past our body, lifting the heart, and then sending the hips back again, extended child's. Inhale, stepping forward, forward fold. Find a half lift here, core is engaged, exhale down. And then inhale, reverse swan diving up. Exhale, chair. And it's time for the other side. Inhale, tall, exhale, forward fold. Stepping back with our left foot this time. Keeping in mind all the toes are facing forward. We have that 90-degree angle in the knee. We're lifting the hands to the heart. If we need to rest them on the thigh, that's okay. And then exhale down. Step back, downward facing dog. Or extended child. So this is a demo of the kneeling version again. Core is engaged here in our kneeling plank. Exhale, kneeling crocodile. Open that heart for our cobra. Little angle there in our elbow. Our arms are not straight. We'll step to the top of the mat, forward fold, And inhale, half lift. We can rest the hands on the legs if we want. Inhale again, reverse swan dive up. Exhale, chair. We'll move into a little bit more of an advanced version. Nice deep breath up. Exhale, forward fold, hinging at the hips. Stepping back, right foot. Find our lunge. Strong foundation first, then hands come up to the heart. And if we'd like to advance, we'll press those hands toward the sky, opening up. We can send the gaze backward a little bit, finding a little back bend in our crescent lunge. We'll cycle those hands back down, starfish them, step back, down dog. We can do the kneeling version if we'd like, but this will be the full version. Inhale forward, stacking the shoulders above the wrist. Exhale down, crocodile. We have a 90 degree in the elbow, core is engaged. Then we'll take a nice deep breath up, upward facing dog. So my thighs are not touching the floor there. If we're in our upward dog, only the tops of the feet and the hands should be touching the earth. So the rest of the body is kind of hovering. And we'll exhale back, downward facing dog, and step forward, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale. And inhale, reverse swan dive up. Nice deep breath, finding our chair. Inhale, tall. And exhale down, forward fold. Stepping back, left foot. All the toes are facing forward for our lunge. And then we can rest the hands on the thigh, keep them at the heart, or send them up toward the sky. Finding a back bend if that feels good. Core is engaged. And then exhale down, starfishing those hands, stepping back, downward facing dog. Inhale forward, stacking the shoulders above the wrist. And we're going to launch off the toes, find that crocodile, 90 degree in the elbow, then open up the heart, upward dog. Tuck the toes, lift the hips, down dog, and walk to the top of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, L shape, exhale down. Inhale, reverse swan dive up. Nice deep breath. We'll do one more cycle here, just a little back bend, and then find our chair. Nice and tall, then forward fold down. Find our lunge again, right foot back, hands to heart, on the thigh or up in the sky. If we need some help with stability, we can always just rest those hands on the mat. We don't even have to rise up if that doesn't feel good today. We'll step back, hands are planted, feet are planted, heart toward the toes, and then we'll inhale forward, find our plank, launch off the toes, find our crocodile. Open up that heart, up dog. Lift the hips again, downward facing dog. And then walk to the top of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, exhale. Inhale, reverse swan dive up. Exhale, chair. We just have one more half to go. Exhale, down, forward fold. Step back, left foot this time. Find our lunge. So any modifications that I mentioned throughout the video, feel free to implement those at any time. So if I don't demonstrate the modification, but you remember it from another video or maybe earlier in this one or maybe from another yoga class, just feel free to implement those on your own. We'll walk to the top of the mat, finishing up that sun salutation with a half lift. And we'll inhale, reverse swan dive up. Nice deep breath. And exhale, hands to heart. We'll kind of shake that out a little bit if that feels nice. We'll come into our standing position, hands at our heart, feet about hip width apart, inhaling up. Exhale, elbows bent out to our sides through the mouth. That's just kind of a nice way to let go after we've warmed up, release anything that we have pent up there. We're going to shift our weight over to our right leg, soften that right knee, and then bring the left foot to the ankle, the calf, or the thigh into our tree pose. If we choose to have the foot all the way up at the thigh, or even if it's at the calf, we'll find more stability if we press the thigh back into the foot. And it is important that we don't ever rest the foot on the knee. And then we can just do whatever we'd like with our hands. We can inhale them up above, Stretch them out long. We'll exhale, hands back to heart. And this time we're just going to hug the knee into the chest. We can hug around the bottom of the thigh, or we can bring those hands all around the shin. Kind of roll the ankle a couple times. We'll take our 2 peace fingers on our right hand, interlace them around the big toe on the left foot, and then extend that leg long. So we should be able to feel a good stretch in the back of that left leg, and finding a focal point really helps keep our balance here. When we're done with that, gently releasing the fingers from the toe, we'll bring the left ankle into our left hand and just let that knee go straight down toward the earth so we can stretch out the front of the thigh, even the front of the hip. Bonus points if we can practice this whole flow without bringing our feet down to the ground. It's okay if we don't, though. It's all a practice. So same thing on this side, softening the left knee, bringing the right foot to the ankle, the calf, or the thigh. If we need to find a wall for our balance poses, that's totally okay. This is how we practice. Send those hands up to the sky. We can branch out, we can keep them at the heart, whatever feels best today. And our balance poses are a really great way to just practice concentration. Balance poses are also really good for anxiety. Keep our mind fixed on something. Bring the hands back down to the heart, and then bring that right leg into our hand. So grabbing underneath the thigh or around the shin, just relaxing the ankle. We'll take the 2 peace fingers there in the left hand and interlace them around the right big toe. Extend that leg long. Feel the stretch in the back of that leg. Sometimes stepping off our mat can be helpful too. If we have a really thick mat, sometimes balance poses there are a little bit harder. We'll take that ankle into the right hand and then send it back behind, stretching out the front of that thigh. And gently release it back toward the earth. We'll kind of shake those legs out, bringing our feet about hip width apart, softening the knees. Nice deep breath up. We'll find our volcano pose. So hands are facing toward one another. We're inhaling all the way down to the belly. And as we exhale, we want to let that navel or belly button draw back toward the spine. So it might be a little bit hard to see here, but we're inhaling, letting the belly expand. And then exhaling, letting the belly or the belly button reach back toward the spine. Remembering to keep the shoulders relaxed, back and down. This is kind of a balanced pose, especially if we close our eyes. And we're just practicing our foundation. We'll kind of shake that one out a little bit too. And then come back to the front of our mat. We'll place the right foot in front of the left. And if you'll notice, the left toes are kind of at an angle, about a 45-degree angle. And we have about a foot or 2 distance between the feet. Placing the hands at the heart, we'll fold forward, hinging at the hips just like we do in forward fold, all the way down. We want to keep those legs fairly long. We can place the hands on a block in front of us, or we can bring them all the way down to the earth. If we don't have a block at home, we can always use like a can, or we can use a pillow or a wall if it's a standing pose and we need a block. Sometimes a wall or like a bed will work. If we'd like to advance here, we can bring those hands up toward the hips and rest them there. We can find kind of a double angle pose and lift the hands up off the hips, finding a heart opener. Then we'll bring the hands back to the heart and hinge up slowly using that strength in our legs. This is our pyramid pose because we form kind of a pyramid there between the legs. Coming all the way up, then we'll bring the left foot in front of the right. Right toes are kind of out at a 45-degree angle. And then hinge forward. When we're down here, we want to kind of draw the nose in the direction of the front knee. It's okay if it doesn't touch. That's kind of where we're going with it. Once again, if we'd like to advance here in our pyramid pose, we can bring those hands to the hip, and then maybe lift them off the hips, opening the heart. That's just an option. Bring the hands back to the heart, hinging up, engaging the thighs and the calves and the core. So preparing for our next flow, we're going to inhale those hands up toward the sky. Nice deep breath, exhale, pour it out. Stepping back here with our left foot, we're going to find our lunge. And this time we're going to bring that left knee down onto the earth. So making sure that our front knee is stacked above our front ankle, back knee is on the ground, back toes are uncurled. We'll bring the hands to the heart here. Let's make sure that we have a strong foundation, then we can rise up a little bit. If we'd like to find some back bend here as well, we can. We should feel a nice deep hip stretch. We'll exhale those hands back down to the heart, hinging forward, and then curling the back toes under the left toes. We'll send the hips back toward that left foot. Right toes come up into the air. We can kind of fold down, nose in the direction of the right knee. If our knee doesn't like to bend that far back, or if it's just uncomfortable, or maybe our legs are kind of long and it's a little bit harder to stretch that way, this is a modification pose, so we can find a 90-degree angle with our left knee and then stretch that right leg out in front of us and then kind of hinge forward so we can really stretch out the back of the right leg, pointing those toes up toward the sky. So whichever one works for you, as long as we're kind of getting a good stretch there. It's supposed to be like a reverse lunge or a runner's lunge. If it feels good to just send the hips all the way back and kind of sit back on the heel, we can do that too. We'll curl the toes under, find our down dog, hips in the air. Hands and feet shoulder width apart, coming onto the toes if we're not there already. We're going to raise the right leg straight up in the air and then pull the right knee to the right elbow. Inhale straight up, exhale crunch left elbow. Inhale up, exhale right elbow. Inhale, exhale left elbow. Inhale nice and tall, and then we'll bring that foot back to the earth. And then we're going to move to the opposite side. So inhale, left leg up, and this time left foot comes up between the hands. We'll plant that right knee onto the earth, uncurl those right toes, finding our deep lunge. Knee is stacked above the ankle, hands come up to the heart. If we'd like to, send them up toward the sky, and then open the heart. Breathing here, concentrating on our foundation in our feet and our knee. Feeling the heart open. And then exhale, hands back down. We'll plant them there by the foot, curl the back right toes under, send the hips back toward that right heel. Left toes up in the sky. And again, remember, if that's uncomfortable, we can do the kind of 90-degree in the knee instead, or we can send the hips all the way back to the heel. It's really up to you as long as we get that stretch in the back of the left leg. So we're just breathing here, just moving through it. Each practice, we're listening to our body, paying attention to how we feel, honoring it. Curl the toes under, find our down dog, and start our down dog crunches again. So left leg up in the air, left leg tucks toward the left elbow. Inhale up over to the right elbow. Inhale again over to the left. And then inhale up high over to the right again. Then we'll drop that foot back onto the floor, press the heart toward the toes, then take a little break here. Find our extended child's pose. Remember, puppy pose in the beginning, that's an option as well if extended child's doesn't work out for us. We're going to take a moment here to be grounded, to slow down. And I really like this practice of opening the palms up toward the heavens. Bringing those palms off the mat, opening them up toward the sky. And this can be an opportunity to practice either acceptance of something that we can't change or something that we've been given. It's also an opportunity to practice letting go of something. So if we're holding really tightly to something that is not serving us or is not helping anyone, we can just practice releasing that. If you have a different practice that you'd like to assign to that pose, it's a good time to think about it. We're going to rise up and kind of ease down onto our bellies here. Bring the elbows directly beneath the shoulders. We can measure that distance if we bring each hand to either elbow and then bring them out again. Finding a sphinx pose here, pressing the hands directly into the earth, and we're lifting the heart. So we have a definite back bend here in the lower back. The heart is lifting, face is toward the sun. We're just breathing here. We should feel almost kind of a zipper sensation from the navel all the way up through the throat. Kind of relaxing out of that pose. We're going to bring the palms face up on either side of our body, relaxing those arms. And on the next inhale, we're going to rise up into our locust pose, pretending like we're holding a really big beach ball over our legs with our hands, and then we're holding like a tennis ball between our feet. We're lifting as much as we can. Glutes are engaged, core is engaged, lower back muscles, thighs, calves, and then we'll just relax back down onto the earth, taking a little rest. Placing the hands beneath the shoulders, we're just going to press up off the earth into a kneeling position. Just kind of getting used to being in an upright position again. If it's uncomfortable to have our knees fully bent, we can stack the hips up above the knees. So we're kind of in a high kneel position. Bringing the hands to the heart, taking a couple of grounding breaths here. Then we'll bring the hands back behind. If we're in a full kneeling position with the hips on our heels, we can do this. Bring the fingers facing toward the body. Starting with the tailbone, we'll tuck it under, lift the heart up toward the sky, and then bring our gaze up toward the ceiling or toward the clouds. Finding it a really nice heart opener here. If our hips are stacked above our knees, if this full kneeling position is uncomfortable, then we can just take two fists into our lower back and just kind of draw those elbows together. So we're opening the heart that way. So we'll gently ease out of that one hand at a time. Whether we're up high or down with our hips on our heels, we're going to open the arms nice and wide and give ourselves a nice big hug. Inhale, nice deep breath. Exhale through the mouth. And then opposite arm over again, opening the arms wide, giving ourselves a nice big hug. So after that exhale, we're going to bring the hands to the heart and do our past and future breath. So we're going to take a really deep inhale, exhale, gesturing with the right hand, letting go of the future, whatever it may hold, inhaling back to center. And then we'll inhale again and exhale, let go of the past, whatever that may have held for us. And then inhale back to center. We'll take a nice deep inhale here in the present, extending the hands up toward the sky, and then exhale, grounding ourselves right here in the now. I love the physical movement of that breath and the representation that it has. Rock back onto our sits bones and extend the right leg long. Left foot is bent into the thigh, and then we'll inhale, left arm up and stretch in the direction of the toes. So we're not really reaching for the toes, we're just opening through the side body. We don't want to hold that too long. We'll switch to the opposite side. This time, left leg extended, right foot bent in. Stretching through the right side body. Inhale, nice and tall. Exhale, hands down. We're going to bring both legs out long in front of us and find a staff pose. This might just look like we're sitting here, but staff pose has a lot of engagement going on in our core. Legs are nice and long. We have our firm foundation beneath us. Core is engaged. Shoulders are back and down. After we've breathed here a couple moments, we're just going to start to hinge forward. Inhale, lengthening, and then exhale, folding forward into our seated forward fold. We'll just continue with that process. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, fold. If we feel like we aren't really hinging as much and we're mostly rounding, bending the knees in toward the chest is going to alleviate any lower back pain that we might have, and it'll allow us to kind of hinge a little bit more, just like it would in our standing forward fold. Starting to find kind of a stopping place here. We can start to rest the head, relax the neck, really sink into that stretch. On the next inhale, starting to hinge upward, relax the shoulders back and down. We'll prepare for a seated twist. Bending the left knee. We can cross that left foot over the long straight leg and hug around that knee for our twist. If we would like to advance a little bit here, we can interlace the fingers behind us. Find a bind in our twist. This is only if we'd like to. If the hands don't touch or we can't interlace the fingers, then we can use like a belt or a strap or even a t-shirt to reach back behind. So we want to do our reverse twist, coming back to center and then moving in the opposite direction. We'll extend that left leg long. Inhale, right knee to chest, cross the foot over. Nice deep inhale, and then exhale, twisting into the pose. Supporting ourselves with the right hand behind us, hugging that left knee, and going in for that bind if we would like to add that to our practice. Taking some nice deep breaths. Twists are a great way to practice breathing in tight places. So if we ever feel like we're physically in a tight place or maybe mentally in a tight place, practicing our twists is a good way to know that we can still breathe even if things are stressful. Let's open up away from that top knee for our reverse twist. Now that we've come back to center, we'll prepare for our boat pose. So kind of bending the knees, resting the heels on the mat. We're going to slowly sink back, keeping a long spine until the core really catches and engages. And then we can start to lift the heels up off the earth. And if we'd like to advance here, we can extend the legs nice and tall, flexing the heels. And we can bring the arms out long to help us find a little more balance. And then we'll give ourselves a nice big hug, because that was hard. Stretching the legs out long again. We're preparing for our inverted plank, making sure that the fingertips are pointing toward the body. Wrists are directly beneath the shoulders. We're going to point the toes and lift the hips straight off the earth. Bring the gaze directly toward the sky, so we don't want to let the head fall back. We'll just take a few breaths there. That's a great pose to practice engaging the lower back muscles. Then we'll give our knees a little hug and rock back onto the ground. We can rock from side to side. This is our knees to chest pose. Just giving our back a little massage. We'll keep the left leg bent and plant that left foot flat on the ground. And then bring the right leg straight up in the air, kind of hugging around the back of the thigh or the calf. We'll stretch out that leg. If we'd like to extend the left leg for a little bit deeper stretch, we can do that. And then bending the right knee, crossing the right ankle over the left knee, we'll just kind of give ourselves a little lower back stretch. So we can keep the foot planted on the mat, or we can hug around the back of the thigh or the shin. This is a really good stretch for the lower back. If we ever have tension or pain there, this is a good way to open it. Breathing here. Then we'll slowly plant that left foot back on the mat and press directly into the right knee, opening the hip. So anytime that we open one thing, we almost always close another. So we want to do the opposite movement there so that we can open the hip as well and close the lower back. And then we'll do the same thing on this side. So keeping the right foot planted with the right knee bent, extending the left leg up in the air and then hugging around the back of that left thigh or left calf. Rolling the ankle, it just feels good. For a deeper stretch, extending the right leg across the mat. And preparing for that pretzel pose or figure four pose, we'll plant the right foot with the right knee bent, cross the left ankle over that knee, and then we can keep the foot flat on the ground if it's enough stretch right there, or we can hug the knee into the chest around the thigh or around the shin. Now that we're on the ground, we're really starting to slow our breathing here. We'll ease the right foot flat onto the mat and then press directly into our left knee, opening up that hip. We'll release that leg Extending both legs up in the air, relaxing the arms down at our sides will engage the core. We're going to just lower the heels down very slowly at about an 8 count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hover there for a moment and then inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just do this a couple more times, slowly lowering. And one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And coming up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Staying here, starting to practice our work rest pose. So the idea of this pose is that the upper body rests while the lower body does all the work. Core, arms, hands, chest and shoulders, all of that's relaxed. And the only part of our body doing work is the hips down. So thighs, calves, feet. Finding that duality between rest and work, which I think especially applies at this time. Trying to figure out how to find balance as many of us work from home. We'll hug the knees into the chest, just rock from side to side a couple times. Then find our final relaxation pose. Palms open at our sides. We can extend the heels about mat width apart, or we can bend the knees, finding a constructive rest pose, or we can keep the feet together, opening the knees out wide for a butterfly position. I like to just do the traditional Shavasana with the feet about mat width apart, flat on the ground. This is also called corpse pose. This will be easier if we are in the full Savasana pose. So we're going to move through the whole body and engage each section and then let those muscles relax. Give them permission to release. So first we'll start with engaging the feet, scrunching up all those muscles in the feet, and then we'll let those relax. Then we'll engage the muscles in the calves and the thighs, tightening them. And we'll let those melt into the earth. And then same thing with the core. Engage the core and then release. And the hands now. Engaging the hands, tightening them, tightening the arms, and then release. Squeezing the shoulders, engaging the shoulders, letting go. Now the face muscles, tightening up those face muscles, screwing the face up. And then exhale, letting that out. We can rock the head from side to side, relax the jaw. Just kind of get comfortable here. And our reading today is from Mother Teresa. May today there be peace within. May you trust that you are exactly where you are meant to be. May you not forget the infinite possibilities that are born of faith in yourself and in others. May you use the gifts that you have received and pass on the love that has been given to you. May you be content with yourself just the way you are. Let this knowledge settle into your bones and allow your soul the freedom to sing, dance, praise, and love. It is there for each and every one of us. As we rest here for the next couple moments, connecting with our breath, allowing it to fill us where we need it, and exhaling, allowing space for more breath later on, only holding on to what we need and letting go of what we don't. Start to wiggle the toes and the fingertips. You can roll the wrists and the ankles and let the head rock from side to side. Bring the hands up over the head. We're going to find our stick pose, so stretching, lengthening from fingertips to toes. We'll bend the knees, let them fall over to the right side of our mat, tucking our right arm underneath our head into our baby pose, moving from corpse into baby, from death into life. Taking a couple of grounding breaths here as we prepare for the rest of our day, we'll press up off the earth into our easy seated pose or Sukhasana, also known as crisscross applesauce. Bring the hands to the heart on the inhale, pressing up toward the sky. Exhale through the mouth, pulling down. Inhale, pressing up. Exhale, pulling down. We'll bring the hands to the heart and hinging forward, peace. If you'd like to see more yoga videos, check out my channel, Gracie Harris, on YouTube. And if you'd like more, or if you'd like a specific type of video, let me know what you'd like to see. You can just comment below. And have a great day. Thank you so much for practicing with me.